Greetings, royal family fanatics! Prince Vincent and Princess Josephine just turned 15 years old, which is a massive milestone for any teenager, let alone royal ones. But here is the absolutely wild part. Their parents were nowhere to be found during the actual celebration. King Frederik and Queen Mary were off doing royal duties elsewhere while their youngest children marked this significant birthday without them. Now, I am not saying they are bad parents, but I am definitely saying the optics are spectacularly terrible. If you want the full story on this birthday disaster and what it says about the Danish royal family's priorities, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell on Danish News Daily, because this situation is more complicated than a teenager's relationship status, and we are diving deep. Let us set the scene here, because the details matter. Vincent and Josephine were born on February 7, 2011, which makes them the youngest of Fredrik and Mary's 4 children. They're twins, which already makes them special and creates a unique bond. Turning 15 is significant in Danish culture. It's not quite the big milestone that 16 or 18 is, but it's still important. It marks the transition from childhood to mid-adolescence, and for royals, it often means gradually taking on more public responsibilities. This should have been a day of family celebration, cake, maybe some carefully orchestrated photos for the public. Instead, their parents were literally in a different location doing state business. Now, the palace's official line is that Fredrik and Mary had unavoidable commitments that had been scheduled months in advance, and that they celebrated with the twins privately either before or after the actual birthday. That sounds reasonable on the surface, right? Except here's the problem. When you are royalty, your schedule is not set in stone by some external force. You have staff whose entire job is managing your calendar. If your children's 15th birthday is important to you, you make sure nothing else is scheduled that day. The fact that unavoidable commitments took priority over their children's birthday tells you everything about where those children rank in their list of priorities. Let us talk about what this does to Vincent and Josephine psychologically, because it cannot be healthy. These are teenagers who already live incredibly unusual lives. They can't have normal friendships because of security concerns and protocol. They can't make mistakes privately because they are public figures. They can't choose their own futures because duty and expectation have already mapped out their paths. And now, on a day that should be about them, about celebrating who they are becoming, their parents are somewhere else doing royal duties. The message that sends is brutal. The crown matters more than you do. Duty matters more than you do. Everything matters more than you do. Here's where this gets even more heartbreaking. This is not the first time Fredrik and Mary have missed significant moments with their children because of royal obligations. There have been school events, sporting matches, performances, and milestones that one or both parents have missed because something else took priority. Now, every parent has to miss things occasionally because of work. That's normal. But when it becomes a pattern, when it happens repeatedly, it stops being about unavoidable circumstances and starts being about choices. And Fredrik and Mary keep choosing duty over their children. The comparison to how other royal families handle this is absolutely damning for Fredrik and Mary. Look at William and Catherine. They move heaven and earth to be present for their children's important moments. School plays, sports days, birthdays, they prioritize those things even when it means rescheduling official engagements. The Swedish royals, the Norwegian royals, even the Spanish royals who have their own share of scandals, they all manage to balance duty with actually being present parents. So why can't Fredrik and Mary figure this out? What is different about them that makes them consistently choose obligation over their own children? But wait, because the public relations aspect of this is catastrophically bad. The Danish people are already questioning Fredrik and Mary's judgment after years of scandals. They are already wondering about the state of the marriage, about whether these two are fit to represent Denmark. And then the palace basically announced that the king and queen couldn't be bothered to attend their own children's 15th birthday because they had more important things to do. The backlash has been swift and severe. Social media exploded with criticism. Parenting experts weighed in about the psychological impact on the children, and even traditionally pro-monarchy newspapers published opinion pieces questioning this decision. Let us consider what Vincent and Josephine's birthday celebration actually looked like without their parents there. Were they at school? Were they with friends? Were they with staff at one of the royal residences? The palace has been notably silent about the details, which suggests it wasn't particularly special or photogenic. These kids probably had a relatively low-key day, maybe got phone calls from their parents, and were told that proper celebration would happen later when schedules aligned. That's not how 15th birthdays should work. You can't reschedule childhood. You can't get back these moments once they are gone. Here's what makes this situation particularly tragic. Fredrik and Mary both came from relatively normal families before marrying into royalty. Fredrik grew up as a prince, yes, but Margrethe was known for being a dedicated mother who prioritized her children despite royal obligations. Mary grew up completely normal in Australia with a father who was present and involved. They both know what good parenting looks like. They both experienced having parents who showed up for them. So why are they failing to provide that same presence for their own children? What has changed? Is it the pressure of being king and queen? Is it the state of their marriage making them avoid family situations? Is it simply that they care more about duty than parenthood? The twin dynamic makes this even more complicated. Vincent and Josephine have each other, which is a blessing and a potential problem. They can support each other through parental absence, but they can also reinforce their feelings of being undervalued. They can commiserate about missing their parents, which creates bonding, but also potential resentment. Twin relationships are complex under normal circumstances. Add royal protocol and frequently absent parents, and you have a psychological powder keg waiting to explode when these kids hit their late teens and early 20s. Let's also talk about the example this sets for Crown Prince Christian and Princess Isabella. They are watching their parents miss their younger sibling's birthday, and they are learning what to expect when they eventually have their own children. The cycle of duty over family gets perpetuated unless someone consciously breaks it. Will Christian do things differently when he's king? Will he remember how it felt to watch his parents prioritize everything else over family moments? Or will he fall into the same patterns because that's what he learned from watching his parents? The staff and handlers around the twins probably tried to make their birthday special. There were likely gifts, probably some sort of celebration. Maybe extended family members stepped in to fill the void. But here's the uncomfortable truth. None of that replaces having your actual parents present on your birthday. Staff can't replace parents. Grandparents can't replace parents. No amount of expensive gifts or elaborate celebrations compensates for your mother and father choosing not to be there. Here's the question everyone is asking. Will Fredrik and Mary learn from the backlash, or will this happen again? Based on their track record, my money is on it happening again, because fundamentally they seem to believe that royal duty justifies any sacrifice, including sacrificing their children's emotional well-being and childhood memories. That's a sad commentary on their values and priorities, but it appears to be the reality of how they operate. Thanks for watching, Legends. Danish News Daily out.